Today in the crypto space, we see the market getting a bit of relief to the upside. Bitcoin back to about 57,000, Ethereum right above that $3,000 mark, and the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are doing pretty good. We have Cardano doing pretty good, Chainlink, Phantom, Celestia, Notcoin coming back to higher levels. And of course, guys, this market right now is giving us plenty of opportunity. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project that has retraced significantly and of course is looking for that horizontal support, and that project is called Taraxa. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. Ultimately, we do see that the market is getting a bit of relief, right? You can see the overall market cap rose just a little bit, very, very slightly. And of course, that's very healthy for the market. This is something that we want to see. And we're seeing some double bottoms throughout the market. But what's the most interesting aspect of this little relief that we got is the volume. Look at the market participation here, right? We're getting a lot of volume into this move. Now, the move is not the biggest, so that means that part of this volume could be equal response from the bears, and that battle between the bears and the bulls is bringing in trading volume, no doubt, because ultimately I would have loved to see a higher high here on the price action. Maybe it's here to come, maybe it's around the corner, but at the current moment, such a large amount of volume with very sideways price action means that there's a battle, literally a battle between the bears and the bulls. And of course, these are current moments of, you know, the struggle and that dominance. What is going to be dominating the market? Who is going to be dominating the market? Is it the bears or the bulls? And if we keep on going down throughout the market, you can see Bitcoin kind of double bottoming, Ethereum double bottoming, and many of the altcoins in a very similar state, looking for a confirmation low, a higher low, which is a lot of them did get on lower time frames. So not bad of a scenario here to see some of these confirmation lows, these higher lows, for potential move to the upside, whether it be a retracement to the upside or, you know, maybe just some sort of relief, and then you know, maybe a rejection, you know, a continuation to the downside eventually. One thing that we have to keep in mind is the big picture, right? If you start zooming out on some of these charts, particularly Bitcoin, using it as a leading indicator, we do see that Bitcoin ultimately is not in a bullish stance just yet. However, this relief might get some people bullish, and obviously it's a risk to reward. Obviously they could do very well getting into a position right here, finding a bottom, picking a bottom, and it running to the upside. However, the risk that you take is that we continue the trend to the downside, because as of now we've seen the market continue coming down with that lower low and lower high price action. And with that being said, the trend is your friend until the end. And at this point, the trend is definitely on the bearish side, and we need to wait for a structural change, a change of character within the structure. And at the current moment, we're not really getting that with much certainty, right? A little bit of divergences here and there, not too bad, but a lot of, especially the altcoins, a lot of them are just, you know, kind of still dripping down slowly, much slower than the last, you know, basically 48 hours, but still within that downwards trend, even though you can see this double bottom, right? Or this, you know, bearish response that is not as strong as the previous, right? That's how we made a higher low. So not too bad. The market's not that bad, you know, at least it's kind of going sideways. As you can see, many of them, as I'm scrolling down and, you know, giving you this update, you can see that a lot of them are just kind of going sideways, making higher lows. Not bad of a scenario, bit of relief, maybe 5% to the upside, give or take, depending on the project. Of course, Notcoin, it's in its own territory at the current moment, flying to much higher levels. I see VeChain looking pretty good. It's only 4.6% to the upside, but it's not bad still. Even Injective, another 6.5% to the upside with this double bottom. Not too bad as well. And if it could keep on going down, there are some projects doing great. Obviously, today's a green day, although if you look at the price action, I wouldn't be celebrating too quickly here, okay? Because what we're waiting for is structure. Now, what I've been looking for is structural, basically structural patterns, indications that we've hit a bottom. Now, Bitcoin is giving us a bit of an indication, but the rest of the market, give or take, there might be one or two that are showing some good structure, but the majority of them are still in a risky state of bleeding out, continuing to the downside. So I'm being very careful here, slow and steady. Look at ENS, nice bounce to the upside, 7.8% move to the upside. And if you keep on going, like say another 9%, it's not bad. We're almost in double-digit gains here on some of these, which is obviously great, So the market in general, guys, hasn't really recovered just yet. However, these are good indications that we might be looking for that recovery, and it's a good indication that we might be getting some sort of structure that we can plan on our next move. Do we go to the upside? Where do we put our stop loss, and where do we take profit? Structure is what we need so that we can build these setups. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin first, and then we'll take a look at Taraxa, because definitely those retracements on the altcoins are very, very deep, and they need to be considered, because ultimately, if you take advantage of those bottoms, you should be rewarded. All right, so we can see that Bitcoin at the current moment is leading the way to the downside. Yeah, we got a bit of relief, and we'll talk about that in a second, but you can see that it broke below some horizontals and diagonals for that matter, and very important ones. So let's look at this in a bit more detail, and then we'll jump right into the Terra chart. As you can see, Bitcoin, let me zoom in a little bit more. This is the daily time frame. You can see the diagonal. It broke through the diagonal. It broke below the 200 daily. Not a good look. And this is why I had this little red box in here, because we had that volume gap, that issue that, look, if we do get a bounce and right through, we could come back and touch about 60,700 as a back test to confirm it as previous support as resistance. Obviously a very bearish thing if that were to happen, and ultimately what I'm waiting for is either coming down to about 52 and testing this level, if it does happen, for one last hurrah to come there and sweep the lows, or we get into a structure right here, an inverse head and shoulder, a W formation, Adam and Eve pattern, whatever the case may be, with a nice bullish divergence. We could definitely get a pivot right around this level. But the best indication, personally speaking, based on this TA, based on the fact that this diagonal, this horizontal right here at about 60,900, 60,500, if we get back above it and back test it, we could spring right off of it once again, right? And respect it. Very similar to what happened at this level, where we came below, swept the lows, hunted that liquidity, and then get back up, back tested and sprung, right? What about if we do that again? Now, I know this one's a slightly deeper. I get it. Look at the depth. It's just a bit deeper. But if we scroll and we kind of look at what's going on with this top, it's slightly lower as well. So it's a bit of a slant. And what this really is a bull flag. Bull flags, definitely look this way, where they're retracive. Now, let me get a horizontal line or a diagonal line touching these bottoms right now. And I'm going to make them a spider line. I'm going to make this a spider line because really it's not that important. It's there because we're going to connect these two bottoms. But we have to understand that these bottoms that we're producing right now, that we're trying to, connect and just kind of make some confluence out of, it is a megaphone pattern. It's slightly broadening over time. We do see that, this is a very bearish type of scenario. So what I'm going to do is quickly make this a lot thinner. Let's make it thinner. Let's make it like this, and let's make it a dotted line. Okay, so that we can just have it there in our view, just to keep us aware that we could be hesitating right around here. We only got 2 touches, maybe a third if you want to classify this as a touch as well. But still, guys, this is a retracement. We're in a bull flag scenario. And then a continuation to the upside is very, very possible. So here we are for Bitcoin coming down. My next bearish target is at about 44K. I don't know if we're going to get there, guys, because we do have some horizontal support right into here, 52 and change. And if we do get that support, get that structural, turnaround like we have done right here, guys, we'll be ready. We'll be scaling into those altcoins. I plan on deploying a ton more capital within a couple of days. That's the plan. Obviously, timing is important, but obviously I'm waiting for the bearish response, and we're kind of getting one. We're getting a bit of a bullish response today, but in the last little bit, we've been getting a bearish response. I don't want to get into the thick of the battle. I want to wait for them to kind of like the bears and the bulls to resolve, and then I'll get in, because the reality is if you get into that battlefield, it's likely that chop action, that whipsaw price action will definitely get you chopped up and spit out. So what I would suggest doing, obviously none of this is financial advice, is that if you're going to start getting into positions, make them small, make them calculated, consider risk management, slow and steady, diversify, and obviously DCA. These are great ways to kind of like mitigate your risk while you see the market kind of resolve itself. All right, so let's jump right into the Terra chart. Keeping in mind that Bitcoin at the current moment is still pushing down, and we did get oversold, and we're getting a nice double bottom even on the momentum, which is a great thing in oversold conditions because it suggests divergence. Right now we're getting a class A bullish divergence, lower lows on the price action, higher lows on the momentum, and I would have loved to see the trend oscillator give me a bit of an indication of a reversal, but a slight bullish divergence, and that's about it at the current moment. So patience, because I feel like we could be building a bottom. And guys, you got to admit, you're not buying tops at this current moment, particularly with the altcoin market. So let's jump right into Terra. As you can see, you are not buying tops. This is a definite retracement, and it does look like a three-wave structure to the downside after a nice consolidation right here, or some sort of sideways bear flag, impulsive move, sideways price action, impulsive move, and now we're hitting some support. And this is the support level that I discussed a couple weeks back, guys. Every so often, I want to touch base on some of these projects because really the TA needs to be addressed. You can see that this previous price action here looking left is quite interesting. Okay, we got a node of volume right into there, and you can see that the market is respecting it. No, that's great. The respect that it's giving it, respecting TA is solid, awesome. But we need to be aware that sometimes there are possibilities that could happen, right? And obviously trading is a game of probability. And what I want to make sure that we keep in mind is the possibility that we fall through the volume gap. Because in this area, right around this level, actually even as low as, let me scooch in, you can see a little bit more what's happening here based on even this previous price action back in 2021, even if you want to include it. And if we do, there's a bit of confluence, even to suggest that there's weakness here, even considering this price action, to suggest that we can come down to about 0.002 3, something like that. Okay, so which is a bigger dip, which is a bigger retracement, and another opportunity to deploy more capital. So what we have to understand is we could get a bounce right now. We could get some sort of structural support where we get that recovery right at this level based on this node of volume, point of control type of thing. However, I would also suggest that you consider diversifying your portfolio via DCAing, and this way you can DCA a little bit more down to this level and making sure you can drag your average price down just a little bit if we are able to come down to a little bit of a dip further, right? Because there's a weakness right into this spot, and of course we want to take advantage of it. So at this current moment, I think this is all eyes on projects that are doing this. You can see what it is doing is creating a nice double bottom. And if we zoom in just a little bit, guys, it's the daily, guys. I don't even feel like it's necessary to get into the lower time frames just yet. If you're going to get into lower time frames, obviously you're going to be scalping, you get in, you get out. But if you're looking for positions, real rewarding long-term positions, the daily is still very valid, and we're almost in the sense where we have to start shifting into the 4-hour to zone in on the entries, because you can see these double bottoms. Look at this nice double bottom that we're potentially forming right at this current moment. At least it's some sort of structure. It's a very weak one. It's not very strong because there's not a lot of data points. There's not a lot of bottoms, but at least it's something to go by. And the fact that it's respecting the top of the volume gap, and consider that this volume gap was printed in here by myself doing the TA way back before even the price actually got here, and that is an indication that the price action is respecting TA. Right? And if that's the case, then we can put a little bit of validity into this TA, and we can see that we have some confluence. If you look at the momentum did get oversold. It got below the 30% mark. It got a nice double bottom right into here in the sense that we're making bullish divergence, class B. We're getting a bit of follow through, getting into the chop zone, which is at about the 50% mark on the oscillator. We took a bit of a rejection, and we're potentially getting a bounce off of the moving average, off of the momentum moving average, which is really, really good. I always like to see the volatility come down oversold in order to get long, but you can see it rolling over, guys. It's rolling to the upside. You can see it's making a bit of a U-turn. This U-turn right here insinuates that maybe we're going to be looking for a bounce here and going for a higher high, and that would give us a confirmation, a higher high here, that we are looking for a change of character. Instead of making lower lows and lower highs all the way down like we've been doing for the last while, we're all of a sudden going to start making a higher high on the price action, which is quite interesting, and it's very interesting for those individuals looking for positions. So momentum wise, as you can see, it looks like we're trying to roll to the upside. The expansion, the red expansion, look at the red, it's totally tapered in, and it's very likely that any day now we start to see a green expansion to the upside, similar to what happened over here. We started getting green. Let me kind of scooch over so you can see the green expansion right into here, what I'm referring to. If we kind of crunch this down, and you can see a green expansion straight up. And then since then, we've been kind of like going nowhere, if you got to admit, not really doing much. But we're waiting for a green expansion, right? We're waiting for that green, and hopefully we get that green expansion right here after multiple red expansions. Now, I am compelled to get into higher time frames because we can see these expansions in a bit more detail. But before I do that, let's take a look at the EMAs here on the trend oscillator. The trend is looking okay, guys. Expansion to the upside, EMAs facing up, green histogram bars to the upside. Really looking good for a continuation up based on trend, guys. Bullish right here for as far as trend reversal goes. I like its positioning right here on the trend. Now, if we go quickly on the 4-day, you'll see what I mean. Look at the expansions. Let me kind of scooch this up a little bit. Let me make this a bit bigger. Let me shift this up a second. And you can see we've been definitely expanding downside with very few green reactions to the upside. A lot of red after this point. A lot of red. We've been getting a few weak expansions to the upside, but nothing major. And really what we're looking for is something a lot bigger to give us that confidence that we're ready to start moving. We've got a green one right in here, a green one right in here. And you can see every time we go green, we get nice pops to the upside. Nice green aggressive moves, right? Like nice green ones right into here. Nice green. So what we want is a green one right now, guys. We want is a major green one, and this major green one could last longer, and it could be a big picture response from the bulls, because the bears have been in total control up until, I would say, even right here, because we've been green, or bearish. We got a bit of green to the upside, a nice green response to the upside, and then all of a sudden very neutral, and then red. And this is what we're getting at the current moment. And if you look at the weekly, guys, the weekly does suggest that we could come down further, but we are in the chop zone right again here on the weekly. So I'm going to be very careful here looking at weekly time frames, because the weekly, at the end of the day, there's a lot of intraday candles, intraday trading possibilities, of course. And of course, the daily is what's going to give us that better entry for that bull run regardless. And to that point, I've planned on one day, maybe next week or so, as we get these confirmations throughout the market. I want to see the entire market going sideways a little bit and getting us that floor price, and then we'll start looking on the 4-hour to find pinpoint those great entries so that we can get in. Now, here on the 4-hour, what looks like a very clean inverse, not inverse, but head and shoulders formation. In fact, it looks like a complex one with multiple shoulders, one head, multiple shoulders, potentially and head and shoulders formations tend to break down bearish only if they break the neckline, and the neckline is so clear here, guys. Based on the top of the volume gap, it respected the top of the volume gap here at about 0.00495. So which means that what we want to see is it to stay above that. We want to stay above that, and if we break below, we want to put a stop loss, right? Because then we fall through the volume gap and we come down lower. Look how clean that is. The decision making is not hard. If you want to scalp the lower time frames and go short, that's fine. Wait for the break of the 0.004874, or if you want to go long, just make sure you put a stop loss right underneath, and you hope that it stays above and gets that bit of relief. We have a bit of weakness right into here, which could suggest that we pop to about 0.007443, something like that. And that way I would be taking profits, because if you get in on the 4-hour, you got to get out on the 4-hour. If you get in on the daily, that's fine that you can get out on the daily. But if you find a setup on the daily that is really worth taking, and you want to get in on the 4-hour just to make sure that your entry is better, that's one thing. But at the current moment, the daily is not giving us such strength. I'm looking for a bigger picture structure. It's not bad. At least if you put a stop loss right into here, you're doing pretty good. And again, taking profit right around here is not a bad idea either, because there's a bit of weakness to the upside that could give you a bit of a move. As you can see, we already kind of moved up already, so not bad. Terra's looking pretty good. Terra took a beating. A lot of altcoins took a beating, guys. And that's one thing that we do have to understand, that it's not just Terra that has been retracing, it's the market in general. And as the market does retrace, we have to understand that there are opportunities across the market. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.